You're being conned right now, and I need you to understand exactly how it's happening. Pinterest just announced that it's cutting up to 15% of its workforce, which is about 780 people, and that's explicitly to fund its transformation into an AI-powered platform. They're allocating $35 to $45 million toward AI-focused roles while eliminating hundreds of existing positions. Amazon CEO has linked recent cuts of over 30,000 employees since October to AI-driven efficiency gains and investment in AI. This pattern is clear across many industries. Companies are shedding workers and pointing to AI as the reason. But here's the thing. These AI-driven layoffs aren't actually what they seem. What we're witnessing here is something far more calculated, a reset of the job market, designed to make you accept salaries you would have laughed at a few years ago. This is all greed, but it's disguised as innovation, and I want you to see it for what it is. Let me start off with a number that should make you think, and then will actually make you very mad. 95%. That is the percentage of AI pilots that failed to produce any measurable return on investment, according to MIT's State of AI in Business study, which analyzed over 300 AI initiatives across major corporations. And here's another number to make you think. 40%. That is the percentage of AI productivity gains that are effectively wiped out as a result of needing human in the loop and rework, right? A figure brought to us recently by Workday's new research. So if AI isn't actually delivering the gains companies claim, it's actually born in lies. So there was this technology that Amazon had called Just Walk Out. It was a retail technology where you could just walk out of a store and have paid almost magically, right? They marketed that as AI powered when in fact it relied on remote workers in India monitoring cameras in real time. This is the extent of the grift with AI. Companies as large as Amazon will literally make it up and lie to us as customers so as to be perceived as innovative. That is where we are. Why are they gutting entire departments in its name? Why are the people left behind doing 3 to 4 people's jobs for no more pay when the robots could be doing it for them? And yes, some companies out there did overhire during COVID, but here's the thing, the quote unquote correction that we're seeing right now goes way behind fixing that mistake. Companies are using AI as a cover to slash deeper than necessary and to reset salary expectations across entire industries. The thing is that this AI narrative gives them PR-approved plausibility for what's really happening, a systemic dismantling of worker leverage and a clawback of the gains workers made during the COVID pandemic. And based on all we're seeing right now, they're not going to be content just going back to pre-pandemic levels. Here's their playbook, step by step, okay? You're living through it. Here's how it works. Step 1, create desperation. Announce mass layoffs citing AI transformation and operational efficiency. Force return to office mandates hoping that people will quit, which is saving severance costs and often hits older workers. That's by design because they tend to have the higher salary and they have kids in school, they have caregiving duties, and they have real estate, so they can't actually go back to the office. Label previously productive and valued people as low performers and fire them. Step 2, reset your expectations. Let the market flood with experienced, desperate workers. Watch as unemployment for these people drags on for months and wait until their savings accounts have run dry. They'll be panicked. And then comes step 3, which is to rehire at a steep discount. Here's the deal. When the AI can't do all that they promised it could, because spoiler alert, it cannot, quietly, they're going to start rehiring people again. But this time, you're going to get a massive pay cut. So the employers are going to post the same roles that they eliminated, but they're going to give you these roles at significantly reduced compensation. They're either going to give it to you, rehire you, or they're going to actually outsource to cheaper countries to hire for those roles. Companies will hire back the same or similar talent pools, and these people will now be desperate enough to accept whatever lowball offer that you throw their way. And this is not just mere speculation here. Forrester Research has predicted that half of AI-attributed layoffs will be quietly rehired at lower salaries. And 55% of employers already regret their AI-driven layoffs, but they're filling gaps cost-effectively rather than admitting that they made a mistake, because that's what corporate does. I'm going to tell you a little story, and that's about a company called Klarna. They went and fired 700 humans, replaced them by AI, and then they had to hire them back because the results were so abysmal, okay? Their customers were so ticked off at what happened after they got rid of all of these customer service agents and replaced them with AI. So the Klarna CEO was really eager to make the company what he called OpenAI's favorite guinea pig. Ugh. And he decided that he was going to cut all of these jobs. And it ended up coming and biting him in the butt because he had to go back and do the work of rehiring all these people. And it was a very bad customer experience for those who were forced to deal with these AI agents. And it ultimately just showed that the tools are not where they need to be in order for humans to become redundant. That's just not where we are. And every single AI company out there is pushing this narrative that in fact we are close to that because it benefits them and makes them look good to the market. You have to consider the source for each of these messages. Who benefits? This is a bubble. We are going to see it pop. There are going to be winners and losers. And a lot of the stuff that we're seeing out there is really smoke and mirrors when it comes to AI. Funny enough, the CEO actually told Bloomberg after letting all these people go and seeing what happened to his company that cost, and I'm quoting him here, cost unfortunately seems to have been a too predominant evaluation factor when organizing this, and what you end up having is lower quality. You don't say. And this pattern, it's already visible. From my community on Instagram, people have been sharing their own stories. I'm going to quote some of them. I'm literally working at the same company that laid me off 2 years ago as a contractor with no benefits for half the pay because I have no other options. I work at a top AI tech company, and they haven't been able to automate my role like they say. They can just get away with paying me less for it now. Yeah. And here's another one. Our whole team was laid off, and I managed to land a spot at a smaller competitor who ended up negotiating a salary of about $10,000 less than my old salary. I made out better considering a lot of my former coworkers ended up at identical jobs paying up to 40K less. That's another person commenting on Instagram. Wow. All right. Step 4, their favorite part, profit. Stock prices are going to go up from the cost cutting. Executive compensation packages are going to be at record highs. Workforce costs are slashed, and investors are impressed by their AI forward strategy. Whether intentional or not, the effect is the same. It's the entire business model right now. So let's do some of this math, okay? Because the math is not mathing at all right now. So here's what workers are facing. The cost of living is up significantly in most markets. So rent, groceries, healthcare, childcare, everything has gone wild in a lot of areas over the past few years. And there's no sign of stopping. Your salary after the reset is going to be down by maybe as much as a quarter to half of what you made before you got laid off. Executive pay packages go at record highs. CEOs at S&P 500 companies are making 285 times the median worker salary. That's up from 21 times in 1965. So the cost of everything you need to survive has skyrocketed. The people at the top are making more than ever, and you're supposed to just accept half of your pay because AI? Yeah, it's not going to work for me. Companies aren't only resetting these salaries, they're resetting who they hire. Older workers, people with 15, 20, 25 years of experience are being systematically pushed out of the workforce and replaced with younger workers who, for example, don't know what salaries used to be, haven't experienced better workplace conditions themselves, and are less likely to push back on unreasonable demands. They also cost less in salary and benefits. And the AI narrative here makes this even easier to do. We need people who are AI native becomes code for we want cheaper, younger workers who won't question the pay cut. Given the already insane amount of bias against older workers when it comes to AI adoption, this is only going to accelerate. They'll leverage AI as an excuse to replace expensive, experienced workers with cheaper, less empowered ones. And by the way, Gen Z is also battling the lazy generation stereotypes, and they're facing the most horrific job market with entry roles that are automated increasingly and the new entry-level starter jobs that are suddenly requiring 3 to 5 years of experience. In short, nobody's having any fun right now at any age. But here's what corporations are counting on, that you will accept the narrative and stay silent. They're hoping that you're not going to compare notes with other workers about what's really happening here, that you're just going to not see the forest through the trees and that you'll accept their headlines about AI efficiencies without questioning the possible motivations behind such messaging. You always have to consider the source, right? They're also hoping that you're going to blame yourself, that you'll think that you're not AI ready or that you need to do more upskilling instead of actually recognizing this as the systemic issue that it is. They hope we're all going to be desperate enough to take their weak offer, that after months of unemployment, mounting bills, dwindling saving accounts, you will accept anything that they throw your way. And they're also counting on us not organizing. They want us to compete with one another for scraps instead of collectively demanding better for them. Ultimately, they're betting that your fear will be stronger than your anger. If nothing changes here, the future that they're building looks pretty bleak. If this playbook succeeds, here's what the future of work will actually look like. Salaries will be significantly cut across the board. Job security and benefits will be eliminated. Everybody will be seen as right-sizable, and AI efficiency means that they're going to come to slash your benefits and perks next. You will be under constant threat of replacement, not necessarily actually by AI, but by someone younger and someone potentially cheaper with AI as the excuse. You'll see a world where workers are afraid to negotiate, advocate, or push back. And while all this is happening, it will be justified by these companies as innovation and staying competitive in the AI age. This is not the future of work we want or we deserve. It is a heist. So what are we going to do about it? That is the big question. And I have some suggestions. First, stop accepting the narrative. These are not AI-driven layoffs. They're profit-driven layoffs using AI as cover to claw back worker gains and overhiring from the COVID era. Second, talk about it. Share salary information with your peers. Share your consulting rates. Share your story. Compare notes on your lowball offers. Make the playbook visible so others can see it coming. Third, ask for transparency. So if a company claims that AI is replacing roles, ask to see how that's happening. And if your boss continually refers to AI productivity gains amidst a drumbeat of layoffs, ask to see that data. Fourth, we can organize, whether that's through professional associations, informal networks, your friends, family, whatever, or maybe even unions. Collective action shifts power back. You have to remember, this is how we can vote. Vote with our wallets, vote with our words. We can make a difference here. We do not have to sit back and accept this. If every single one of us refused these absurdly low offers, we would be in a better position to negotiate. And yes, I understand that this is difficult for everybody to do, but for those who can, it behooves all of us to say no to these lowball offers. Fifth, remember your worth. Your experience is not a liability. Your salary expectations aren't unreasonable. You're not actually being replaced by AI. You're being exploited by a system that's betting you won't fight back and ask to be paid what you deserve. The bottom line is the AI revolution isn't coming for your job, at least not yet. But corporate greed disguised as innovation absolutely is. And the only way that we can stop it is to name it, share it, and refuse to play along as much as possible. You are not being replaced, at least not yet. You're being conned. The question is, what are we going to do about it?